and those people are called troubleshooters. Okay, maybe you'll find memo later. And those people are called troubleshooters. Troubleshooter is a person who shoots or kills a problem in very extraordinary way. And he do this for business or marketing purposes. Those people in this world is counting like 100, and their salaries can reach up to $100,000 per hour. But those people do not write any books, because if they write books, it's not profitable for them, as they will bury their career forever. Nevertheless, when the top management and external auditors refuse to solve the problem, troubleshooter will come to the rescue. And now we will look at a vivid example of some kind of problem. 1,000 people were puzzling their heads over a very unsolvable task at Nike's head office. Nike had entered the market in the poorest countries of Africa, and they supposed that the cost of production of their shoes will be very low, but they unexpectedly faced some problem. The local workers were stealing those shoes. The company tried to hire the guards from the locals, but it was only worse, because the families and guards also allowed to wear their shoes and steal those shoes. If they hire security from head office, the cost of from head office from United States, the cost of production will be of very high scale. So troubleshooter was invited to find the solution. And troubleshooter, of course, didn't know anything in footwear technology, but he could look at the problem from a very different angle. And he sat in his office, thought, and gave the solution. You need to produce in different countries separately, left and the right shoe. So in one country you produce left, and other country you produce right shoe, and so the problem is tweeted. As you may see, the solution can be very simple, but it is quite unique one. And as it said, the devil is in details, and not everyone can see it. Also, I have been on the election of Sergei Godai, he is a so-called Ukrainian troubleshooter, who also exchanged his experience of troubleshooting, and those experiences and main key points also highlights troubleshooters from all over the world, that I want to share them with you. The first approach: if you want to succeed in life, cancel your narrow specialization. Just imagine that you have mastered such field as selling pages. How long your specialty will exist? It will be ended in one day. So if you want to achieve success, you should cancel your just narrow specialization and look on things broadly. You should see on everything as a model and apply this model from one activity in another. Another approach is simplify or die. Simplicity always wins, and we know that in our modern world, technology in one click always wins technology in 2 clicks. I will tell you about the unsuccessful campaign which happened when was one of the dish brand that was well known at the time in Ukraine. It is Gorkogo. And they entered the Ukrainian market and tried to produce their dishes, but nothing came of it. And they tried to hire some cool advertising company that made a good advertisement for them. But what two main components of any advertisement is? It is slogan and a picture. So the marketing company created a slogan for Gorkogo. It was magic of sparkling quality. Everything that it has, it is short and very sophisticated, beautiful phrase, as we may see. Afterwards, they created a picture for billboard. And if commercial doesn't work, what will marketers use? They hire some beautiful model and put it on the advertisement. It have this advertisement billboard looked. In the first variant, the girl was coloring her lips and looking into the frying pan. In the end, marketers chose the picture where she was not coloring her lips, but she was still looking into the frying pan. And this picture actually could remind, like, soon there will be a meteorite, but I'm protected. We all understand that with such campaign for creativity, nothing will come up. So the both also haven't nothing with this creative advertisement. Another marketers try to solve and to invent other advertisement. They just ask it and try to understand what unique trade offers has the Berghoff. And what they created, their advertisement was not very extraordinary, but it was quite understandable for the people. In the end, in 30 later, the advertiser, who had 30 years of experience, evaluated this advertisement and said that this advertisement is as crappy as the previous one, and your advertisement should look like this. It doesn't burn, it's simply understandable and drag the attention of clients, right? So please, conclusion, do not go into puzzles, just make it easier and understandable for everyone. Next case that also was in Ukraine. All companies that order packages understand that, knows that buying less than 10,000 packages, it is not profitable. So one company that was in Ukraine developed some other way of printing inscriptions on the packages. But management was doubted if it actually will work. But they finally demonstrated this package and also write a very small text on the pictures. So the text was, this package is made in a special way. You can order from 100 pieces. We will do the size, and each time you still can read the text. So they found the solution and were supposed to bring those packages to exhibition. Finally, everyone was glad, but when the director had read the text of the packages, she found a mistake and said, "No, you should destroy all the packages and punish the guilty ones. Even the genius can't help in this problem." But there was one troubleshooter who heard about this case and said, "No, we can make some inscriptions and just to pretend that the mistake was made with a purpose." They wrote such a inscription: "Attention, who will find a mistake in the text receives 3% of discount." When the packages was brought to exhibition, everyone wrote the text and said, "I have read the text 5 times, but I can't find a mistake. Please tell me." This is actually very extraordinary ways to find the problems. Guys, like, always ask why yes. Do not stop on global text, but try to find subtext, to find solution on the subtext that you need. Other case, interesting task, you may see it as bus stop in a residential area of Poland, in Poland. The youth was breaking and crashing this bus stop, and after first time when it was crashed completely, the mayor said, "Find some solution," and you see it. If yokes beat, give them a chance to beat. Also, there was written, when you try to break into the stop, first practice. And you see how it helped the bus stop now. I tried to dig and find some extraordinary solutions, such extraordinary cases in my life. But then, after thorough thinking, I gave it up, admitting that I'm not troubleshooter. And if I had such extraordinary situation and extraordinary solution, I guess I would be sitting in some corner office at the higher level of skyscraper and making money. But with this comforting thought, I found a relief. Nevertheless, I want to make some conclusion. We can learn from it, and we can learn from it a lot. Solving problems is go beyond your own experience. Look at any challenge, at any problem, with the curious eyes of a child. And ask the questions that nobody has raised before you. If somebody says you that it is not possible, you are the one that can step with this challenge. And you will be the first who will solve the problem. Thank you.
A short survey among our club members. What among a lot of mathematical, technical problems, what would you like to hear most? And overwhelmingly, they told me they would like to hear about neural networks. And no one is here, by the way, among those people. So you're going to listen instead of them. But their choice is understood for me, because for a couple of reasons. First thing is that the topic is hot. Not as hot as it was, but still quite warm. Second thing is that you cannot help feeling that when you apply neural networks, you have some sort of magic as an outcome. The third aspect is that you cannot help comparing it to how our brain works and neural system and all these things. So, although these are two completely different areas, you still cannot stand comparing it. And I first encountered neural network when I was studying in university, and my teachers was always speaking of them in some very vague, abstract terms, so I had suspicions that they have no idea what they're speaking about, and it's probably not comprehensible beyond a human capability, but fortunately it's not like this, and we're going to unravel it a bit today. Essentially, before we start speaking about neural networks are a set of mathematical models in bigger area of deep learning, and there are a lot of problems which are impractical or even impossible to work out manually for programmer to, take into account all the nuances and make an algorithm. So you would rather prefer to feed a big amount of data into machine learning algorithm, and it will work it out. So this is very basic principle, and to facilitate it we have a neural network. The foundation of this was laid down by the guy with a beautiful German surname Rosenblatt. So sweet, right? And this is not he's probably not a relative of Ukrainian one. Most of them are genius in their own right. One in mass, another in corruption. But what we have? We have input array. We have our hidden neuron array, and we have output function. Here, in the hidden neuron array, we have activation function, we have bias, and we have weights, which we multiply on these input parameters, pass it through activation function in order to receive result. Activation function, it could be any nonlinear function, but in most cases it's sigmoid. Ask me later what it is. And this is because it's easy to differentiate. I guess that's basically it. But there is another aspect, because if it was so simple, then probably would not be so successful. There is another aspect, which is backward propagation, backward learning. Once we moved forward, we define our loss functions to see how our result different from what was expected from initial data set. And then we do again some technical term which is called gradient descent, which is based on derivative of a loss functions, and we subtract or add certain values to the weights, and it goes cycles and cycles and cycles until it is finally trained and can provide reliable results. This one is the simplest type of a neural network called perceptron. It has just one hidden layer and a lot of application, but one problem. And problem is that it is really bad in what it is supposed to do in finding patterns, because in general neural network problems are those problems where we need to look for certain patterns, and this looking for patterns is the only area where people are much better than computers, and beating them is still yet, we'll see for how long it will take. And this could be any sort of tasks, including all sort of video, image recognition, robotics, self-driving cars, which is, by the way, a subtask of video analysis, uncertainty data set. Going deeper, what does it mean? Because we have looked for a very basic neural network which belongs to the feed-forward class of networks, and sometimes you need to look cooler to your friends because you want to say them that I'm doing a deep learning algorithm. What does it mean? That you add just one hidden layer on top and you are already cool guy, not the one from the 60s. As I mentioned, feed-forward networks, most of the applications they found in all sorts of video or image recognition techniques. And what is really interesting is that this convolutional neural networks is the development of these simple perceptrons. They work very similar to how our retina and how our visual cortex work. So they define like small features of every image, edges, bars, gradients, and then they generalize them so that they can define which picture they are dealing with. And here there is sort of an image or a little visualization of a process of learning, how neural networks learn to build this file. I will start it over here.
Oh my god.
Another interesting application which is called transfer styles. You can transfer style of either color picture into this image, and this is what you get as a result.
What is transferred to what?
The style of this picture is transferred on outline of this picture, and the result is here. And by the way, in the materials I sent, there are a lot of stuff like this. I do encourage you to take a look because it's extremely interesting, this transfer experiments. Alright, so convolutional neural network have their share of and amount of success, and there is a towering figure in this whole area called Jan LeCun, who is AI director in the Facebook, and you might notice that Facebook is currently very good at recognizing faces, and he also developed the algorithm of handwriting recognition. But still, convolutional neural network sort of are not that much impressive. It's okay, you can recognize handwriting, but not a big deal, especially for our human brain. And when you start getting a feeling of a magic is when you're dealing with recurrent neural network, because our feed-forward network, they are just one directional, and in the recurrent neural network, neurons in the network can speak to each other. And there is another technical concept, and I promise this is the last one, which is called long short-term memory, which makes the whole model sort of In computer science term, it makes the model sort of stateful, because it remembers the state of neuron during the previous iteration of training, so it makes this algorithm more complex. And you can build different topologies of these neural networks. For example, this one is a good fit for video recognition when you process video frame by frame. This one for online translation, when you translate from Ukrainian to English, French, whatever, with sequential input, sequential output, sorry, all this kind of things. And what is interesting that it takes different approach to the same task as called image recognition, which related, or if you compare to convolutional neural network. So instead of breaking it down, it just randomly takes the pieces of an image and try to generalize it into some meaningful output. And here you see in dynamics, neural network is drawing numbers on a post boxes based on a learning. And this is where magic starts, because interesting thing is that neural network has no idea about what is number, right? In this material I sent you in advance, there are neural network playing computer games like ping pong or breakthrough, and they are learning it just from pixel output. They have no idea about naive physics, that ball is moving according to certain trajectory, that other side wants to win. Any prior knowledge, they just develop algorithm based on what they learn. Good example of it, application, rather famous application of neural network to generating a text. And how it generates, it takes in any size of text and then try to predict next symbol. Just as simple as it. Tries to predict next symbol. Again, neural network has no idea about the words, it has no idea about the semantics, it has no idea about the grammar, nothing at all. It just takes, for example, the whole Shakespeare legacy and then try to generate its own version of Shakespeare. And if you look at this, it understands the words, it understands the structure, and grammar is more or less correct. And if you look at this, almost not distinguishable for me from the real Shakespeare. Same thing, Bible generated. And there is a Twitter, and for me, it makes equally as much sense as the real Bible. The last one is really funny, by the way. So you can subscribe to this Twitter and see how it works. There are a lot of different aspects of neural networks which I cannot cover. For example, the ones called generative adversary networks, where you build two neural networks which are fighting to each other or train each other. One is trying to define crypto algorithm, other is trying to hack it, all this kind of things. There are also quite interesting ones called symmetrical networks. Again, very complex math beyond. And because of these advances, many people believe that neural network poses some sort of existential threat to our society and mankind, and intellectual explosion, and we are dead, which is sort of funny, because either these people overvalue the value of mankind existence, or I don't know. But in general, as you can see from this picture, where neural network try to recognize and describe what is written on a picture, I think it is a bit too early to panic. We still have time. Artificial intelligence is making sort of baby steps, and we won't see self-driving cars on our streets until, we won't see them on American streets until, I guess, 5 years from now. And about Kiev, I'm not even speaking. So, no reason to panic. Just try to jump in and learn it, because it's really interesting and it's really amazing. As I mentioned, you you have a feeling that you touch something magical when you work with this. There are several resources I want to recommend you, but definitely if you're interested, you won't be deprived of information. A lot of it, a lot of books. The one which I recommend, Andrei Karpati, I guess, very interesting writing and reading, with all the source codes and stuff. Stanford, famous course, very classical one. And there are a couple of two courses also on from Andrew G. Vietnamese, another funny surname, and there are the guy I forgot, but both of them are sort of apostles of this movement, and if you want to work in it, you are supposed to sacrifice an oxen or guinea pig to their idol. So I guess basically that's it. I hope you gained some interest in the field. And I think it was not too simple or too complicated. Thank you, everyone.
And when something is like wrong, we tend to believe that that's not we are wrong, it's something else wrong. Of course, that's a convenient way to think about. And recently, people kind of started believing that our Mother Nature is wrong. Like, how could they produce so unproductive bodies that we have? And a lot of people try to hack how our body are made and how our organism work. And it is called biohacking. This is the topic of today's session, biohacking. For example, my friend Roman, he has a RFID thing in his arm. It's kind of like a pill that he implanted in his arms that works like a credit card, you know? When you can unlock your door if it allows this reading the RFID chip. You can pay with it if you want. So basically you don't need cards, keys or anything etc. like that. So the question is, would you like to have such an implant in your body that could replace some of your tools around that you have? And why? Any volunteers? You just were on the seat. I'll call next. Vitaly, maybe, Victor, maybe you want? You know some interesting?
Okay. We got at least 30 seconds for thinking. This is a rule for Toastmasters. Actually, in this modern and very technological world, always connected with technology and especially with biohacking, and this a new modern terminology I'm just learning. So, and I'm just imagine what's going on if you have just implanted a chip. And definitely we have always something like implanted chip in our pockets, for example, like an iPod or telephone. It's already number one. But if you can implant this very like a micro organ in telephone inside your body, will it be useful or not? Why not? If you are going just coming to another country, for instance, you're coming to, for instance, airplane, so always you will be with your chip. It's hidden somewhere. So if this technology will be really advanced, you can even cannot imagine what can you do with this chip. You can read, you can record like video, like audio, like everything what you want. And so you can accept information, you can transfer information. So that's why you will be really like invisible spy. Visible, but something inside of you invisible. And it's up only the technology. But technology man is here. So he, 1, 2 and maybe more. So we will develop it perfect in a perfect way. So that's why I believe this technology is quite useful. That's why even without special chip, okay, we can input this chip, for instance, to our dog or cat. So you can imagine that you are like a dog and cat. So you will not be lost. Because always you need to have something like identification card inside your purse, for example. Because if it is lost, so somebody will identify. But with the chip, you're always identified. And if you're an honest person, if you are not a spy, if you are not just falsifying something, it's normal. If you want to cheat or just falsify something in society, okay, people say this is democracy, we don't like chips. we don't like it to be controlled. So everything and everyone can be controlled in a good way. If you do not like it, that's your problem, but it's not a problem of technology. Technology can be used by people. Everything depends from the people who can use it in a wrong way and in a good way. So try to use it in a good way. So with money you can buy something or you can kill someone. So with this chip you can do something brilliant stuff, or you can just defeat and just to be against people. Okay.
Thank you very much for such a nice intro to this topic. Seems like Victor is really way to biohack. We also have our mental part of our health, how our brain works. And indeed, it's very interesting for a lot of people to hack it and make it work a little bit better. And some people try to use medicine that can increase the concentration or the productivity or other cognitive abilities. It sounds kind of like a drug, but maybe not. Would you like to regularly practice taking medicine that increase your cognitive abilities, like concentration, or not?
May I?
Yeah, sure.
It seems to me, yes, I was thinking when the lady was answering, I thought, yes, if to change something in my body, I would implant something into my mind to have some better productivity, to be able to do a lot of things quicker and a lot of things better in a better way. And just you asked about that pill, you know that it seems to me I would like it. Of course, first I would read all the consequences of that pill, but if it is pretty okay for the body, I would implant it. And I can't imagine that I would do a lot of things, more than 100%. I would be as busy as I be and doing more perfectly my job. It would be great. It means that I could work half of night and do a lot of things at night that are impossible now during the day. I think that it would be great and beneficial for me and for the rest of people. I can't even imagine if I can cook something, look with teach my kids to do something. I could be multi-functional lady, and it would be great, it seems to me, if I could do so many things at once. I think that if somebody asked me to implant such kind of pills or take some kind, I would try. I would try. I think it will increase my productivity and I will benefit from it. Thanks.
We would kind of become like a different species, you know? Like, if we do this, we are 2 times more productive and 3 times produce more results. But all the others, they would not do that. And if we add, like Victor, insert some implants, replace some body part, we would be like totally different creatures. And like, what to do about it? It's not only the difference of skin color now, it's the actual difference in how we would behave. And since it seems like we cannot stop human from advancing in this part, it would happen sometime anyway. So how to deal with that? How to deal with inequalities that will be caused by biohacking? That some people will be much different from the others. Please.
Eagerness to speak today, but we have to use to it. And I think the greatest biohacking, which really shaped our society as it is right now, it's already happened. And this greatest biohack is spread of contraception. Because if you think how role of women in society changed because of use of contraception, you start thinking that we become different species really. Our biological nature changed essentially, and I would say that unless we have some religious fanatics here in the room, no one argues and saying that it's a bad thing, although at the time when it was just started, there were quite a few of people who were saying that it is unthinkable and impossible, and most of the churches are still prohibiting it. Although the result is the emancipation of women, the ability to receive equal pay, the ability to feel more protected, they have now chance to be openly sexual and when sexuality changed, all this kind of things. So I'm looking forward really to have some other advances like this. It's quite a beneficial thing.
We are hacking and moving to other planets as the other direction. And we go to Mars, and there's a different atmosphere and all the different conditions, and there is no way for us to be the same, right? And we will definitely change. And my question is, how would you call the people? Would you treat them as people who would live on another planet that would be totally different from us? Or they would be something else? That would be like Earth and Marsians and Earthians. How would you treat people who are totally different from us? Any volunteers? No volunteers? Or no, maybe you want this? Please.
I think it would be the same as English people going to Australia and America and conquering it and then becoming independent from it. So I think it would be like this. But also I think that we are not yet ready because, I mean, we are, I like the saying by one scientific sci-fi writer that there is a solid proof that there are intelligent aliens in outer space because they're not attempting to contact us. So I think we're not ready yet for such thing because I mean we don't respect each other, we don't respect some people who have different dates, different political views, different looks. So what would we think about people who live on Mars and their biology is very different? So I think maybe we should get ready for such advances before we apply them, because maybe it would be like interplanetary war between Mars people and Earth people as a result of our moral qualities remaining the same while biological structure is different. Thank you.
Now we want to listen to Elena Nalivaiko evaluating the speech from one issue. Please welcome her.
Thank you, Ivan. It was a challenging one. Yesterday I spent an hour trying to understand what artificial intelligence is, what are neural networks. I've heard something earlier, but I was never interested in it so deeply, trying to understand what it is. And it was beneficial for me because now I have just an idea what it is and where are we going, where we are moving in our artificial intelligence. As to your speech, Ivan, I liked your introduction very much. You made us laugh, you added some jokes, and it was great, like capturing the audience. What is going on. Then you were trying to explain us using the slides. The slides were perfect, bright. I forgot the name. Giggling. What the moving in the slide? Something you said it. When the slides were moving, yeah? How do we call this one?
Animations.
Animations, yeah, I like the animations. It was when not just the picture, but the animated things in the slides. I liked it very much. It helps to imagine what's going on in those neural networks. I liked your kind of humor. Ask me later about what it is. Ask me later, yeah. He was supposed that we should remember after those many slides what we are going to ask him. It was fun and it added some relaxation to that difficult technological presentation. I liked your comparison with the magic, because for people without technical background as me, it was difficult to understand. But when I imagined that it's something magical, I liked it very much, because really if we dig deeper, we can understand that there is magic over there, if it is, even though it's difficult to understand. What I liked about your enthusiasm, your willingness to dig deeper, in spite of the fact that a lot of us do not even understand what neural networks are, you were given that in the way that we were interested and eager to dig deeper into that subject. I liked it very much. As one idea I liked about neural networks is self-driving cars. I adore that idea. I know that I drive every morning forward and backward my kids to the school and from the school, and I think that the best thing we can use for me from this technology of our future is self-driving car. I liked it very much. What I would give as a room for improvement, you know that someone told recently, it seems to me it was Andrei Spivak, that you should know the audience. If you understand that most part of the audience have no idea about neural network, I would make just a piece of a very, very simple explanation, because I'm sure that for many people it was difficult to understand what neural networks are and why do we need them and why we are interested in them. This is the only piece I would like you to suggest, that before try to make it as simple, as clear as possible for the audience without technical background, just to make them easier to understand what's going on and why do they need it. And one more thing, convolutional, I checked it in the dictionary, it was difficult as well as to the convolutional, yeah, not combustion, convolutional, yeah. I've checked it that there's some changes, but for the people, for the rest of the people, they have no idea what are you talking about. You're that person deeply understood the topic, but for us, just a bit of introduction, as clear, as simple as possible as it could be. Okay? Thank you very much.
Session. Sincerely, I was, for the first moments of our table topic session, I was glad to see this cheerful guy who was very open, and I felt and I saw that he loves a lot his topic. But sincerely, when I heard the topic, I was like back to my seat, because for me it was a little bit frightened. But so everybody who was on the stage, they are very brave because they found what to answer. However, from the beginning I will start. So I liked that you proposed to us this unusual topic, good creativity from you. As I said, you were very cheerful and it helped us, and it is very good, Andrei, that you helped us to understand your question. You made very good explanations for every question, because the topic is really not that every time we are speaking or we are thinking about, so you were very helpful while giving the explanation. The first question was to Victor about tool in his hand. My compliments to Victor, as he didn't lost himself. He immediately started to set his digits he has already had and how they work. What I love in your behavior on the stage is your loud voice, that you are not afraid of producing and create the ideas. But what I missed is that you do not answer exactly the question. You talked about different things. Be more
precise.
Be more precise, be more, how to say it, brave to answer exactly the question. And your question was, and the question was very easy. If you would love to have this tool in the...
Yes, I agree. I like it.
Thank you. Okay, second question.
Who will make it? Who will make it?
Second question about
replacement of body parts was asked to our guest, it is good that she was really open and brave, and what we can learn from her that she shared her emotions. She said that I'm horrified about doing this, replacing my things, so the girl was really open and no fear on the stage. That's good. And the third question, Lena answered, and she was volunteer. Very nice that you were so brave to answer these difficult questions. And I liked very much that you were thinking on the stage. You didn't have the exact idea what to answer, but you immediately imagined and said that if I would have this possibility to use the medicines who give me some extra power, I would use them for doing more at night, for doing several things at the same time, so very good. And I liked your confidence on the stage, your openness, you contacted with all the audience. Very good answer. Ivan answered about the qualities, inequalities that biohiking would create. I love that you are always relaxed on the stage, and it relaxed us also. What sometimes I am missing, or for me it is difficult, your scientific approach, but I liked that you were talking about women and you cared that with this medicines or with these technologies that women could receive more independence in revealing their sexuality. That's I noticed and that I hear from you. And Dasha. Dasha was also a volunteer. Congratulations. And what I would recommend you in your case, your question was if we travel to the other planets, how we would treat and communicate with the other natures, right? And yes, this question is difficult to imagine, and you tried to forecast this kind of situation. But what I would recommend to simplify this kind of questions. For example, how we would treat the other people, and now in our life we already have such kind of situation. We communicate with other nations. So you could switch to the present life.
I answered the question. I said that we would treat them badly because we are not ready yet. That's what my answer was.
Okay,
so I understood the question and it wasn't difficult to me.
Okay, maybe I didn't got because it was short. But okay, for all of us it is idea how to do with such difficult questions, to find something in them that are close to us, similar to our everyday life. Andrei, thank you for this experience. Thank you everybody who was on the stage, because I could imagine that it was not easy. And the winner of today's table topic session is